Hello everybody, Tim W. Rago here, games, movies, and vlogs, even though I haven't done any fucking gaming in a while, but still, how the hell are you guys? And welcome to the first episode of the trend that we are jumping on, because it's June, is Jurassic June for Paleo Files Reviews. So, once again, I'm joined by fellow nerds, and one creature obsessed, and the other an engineer obsessed.
How's it going, folks? Jurassic World Monsterverse here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another review marathon, and happy Jurassic June as well to everyone out there.
Greetings, nerds and dudes. This is Exolia, engineer freak and nerd extraordinaire and creator of my own bullshit. Welcome to Jurassic June with Paleo Files Reviews.
Yep. So for our first review, we delve into bringing dinosaurs back to life, but everything gets fucked up like they always do. Oh, hold on a sec. Did you really? Hold on, all of you. Did you really think we were going to talk about Jurassic Park? Hell no!
Hell no!
So for the first movie in Jurassic June here, we're doing Carnosaur, the first Carnosaur movie that came out in 1993, and it came out a month before Jurassic Park. Like, everyone says that this movie is, like, it's a ripoff of Jurassic Park, what's a cash-in, which it kinda is, but it came out a month before Jurassic Park, so it's like, is Jurassic Park ripping this off? It's like... It's just the date on which they came out is just kind of funny. Like, they always say, oh, Carnosaur's a ripoff, but Jurassic Park came out a month later. Like, Jurassic Park came out in June. So, who's cashing in on who here? So it's like, what movies cashing in on who? I don't know.
So before we get into the movie itself, I think it'd be best if we explain its origins first. As to why and how Carnosaur came to be. So
yeah, so much like. Oh, sorry. That actually no, you.
No, you go.
So folks, for those who are not familiar with this movie, Carnosaur, much like Jurassic Park, it's based on a novel, and the novel is written by Harry Adam Knight. But in that novel, there were a lot more dinosaurs in that story. There was a sauropod, I think a plesiosaur, James. I think you were telling me what animals were in there. There was a sauropod.
Yeah.
I've got the list. A plesiosaur.
I've actually got the list here.
Yeah, what animals were in that book?
We have a bull Talbosaurus, a sexually frustrated Megalosaurus, Dilophosaurus, and you did say Plesiosaurus, right?
Yeah.
Yep, and a Scolosaurus as well, which is a sort of ankylosaur. So there's a few others, but from what I'm seeing here, this is the most I can find.
But in this movie, the only two dinosaurs that are in it is a Deinonychus, which is a raptor, and which is a species of dromaeosaurid or raptor, and a T-Rex. And a T-Rex, because it's a dinosaur movie. You can't do a dinosaur movie without Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, unless you count The Land That Time Forgot and a few other older dinosaur films, but that's only a small percentage of the grand scheme of shit, because pretty much every dinosaur movie in existence has a Rex in it. I mean, Kong 33, anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, Kong 1933,
Yeah,
anybody?
but don't you remember Disney's Dinosaurs from 2000? There were no T-Rex in that.
Yeah, Carnotaurus is what got the main recognition in that movie. There was
Oh,
no
yeah, that's right.
But they sure made the Carnotaurus act like Rexes, though. They sure made them look pretty much act like Rexes.
That's true.
But anyway, so with Carnosaur, you know, this is Zola. This is your first time watching this movie, and Jurassic World Monster. James and I, we were waiting for Daniel to join because some of his reactions to the kill scenes in this movie, his face is so memeable. They were so memeable. So what is so honestly, before we go into the story, well, actually, we got to talk about the story first. So this whole story of this is pretty much it's a really weird plot. Like this movie has a really odd plot. Like the main thing is this scientist played by Laura Dern's mother of all actors. Like, can you just imagine?
We were joking so much back and forth just about that, you know, because Laura Dern's mother was in a dinosaur movie that basically had the same idea as Jurassic Park did.
Yeah, exactly.
Which came off as not very good, but then you get Laura Dern in Jurassic Park in the same year,
exactly,
which came off as one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah,
so you can imagine, the conversation between them must be very awkward.
her mom probably was out of work, so she needed a few bucks.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about this movie, for those who have not watched it, the whole thing about this is the scientists working at a chicken company. Like, they make chickens a big deal throughout this movie. Like, there's so much things about chickens. And in the opening scene of this movie, when they show a chicken farm or a poultry plant, I think it's a poultry plant, and they show real footage of that.
It's not an easy scene to watch, because especially if you're an animal lover, I highly suggest skipping past the opening credits, because there's a lot of cruelty and that. Yeah, I don't really want to get into that, but it's not
about that.
It's not easy to watch.
It is actually it is pretty disgusting, but then you just cut to this. I don't know, they just make such a... I made a joke about this with you guys when we were watching this. It literally made me want to go grab KFC. It literally made me... This movie made me go want to grab some KFC, because they literally...
It made me crave chicken nuggets.
Dino nuggets, not just any nuggets.
Dino nuggets.
Dino nuggets. But
I won't disagree. I'm I had a turkey sandwich when we were watching it, because you want to eat a bird while watching this movie for some reason.
It does. It really oh no! And then I made the joke of when I kept pointing out to you guys that in the opening, after they do the disgusting shit, then we cut to a board meeting, and everybody has a can of Coke sitting in front of them. You can't possibly say that wasn't product placement, and it's why do I want a Coke so bad? I know I hate soda, but I really hate soda. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I really can't stand soda, but it made me want to drink a Coke. Seeing that made me want to drink a Coke for some reason.
It's really, it was so surreal, because, I'm not really much of a soft drink fan either. I don't really like fizzy, bubbly drinks like cola. I do care for things, like lemonade, sort of like 7-Up and Fanta and things like that. But with cola, I just never really liked it. But for some reason, this film made me crave one.
It really did. And it's and they weren't subtle about it either. They made sure that you can tell that all three of those drinks were Cokes. The way the camera was shot, they weren't subtle about Coke. They weren't subtle about having a Coca-Cola in front of them. But... it's this movie does the same thing. It basically is same through Jurassic Park. It just has dinosaurs get recreated through genetic engineering, and then they just go run around and kill a bunch of people. But the thing is, though, is that this movie really... I say this is the first movie that you can actually call dinosaur horror. This movie is a slasher movie with dinosaurs in it. Like this is
Yeah.
like
It's
this
a cheap slasher, but still a slasher.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is like the only movie where you can literally call it like dinosaur horror because the kills in this movie it puts Jason to shame. Like I think the kills in this
I
movie.
wouldn't say that. I mean, he has done some really brutal shit if you've seen his movies, but I agree. Some of these kills were graphic.
Very
but,
graphic, especially.
Yeah, they're a little out there, you know.
Especially the what do you call? Especially there's like a couple of scenes that really put the good in gore. Especially, and there's this weird thing where it's got like, you just have like there's like two subplots that happen in this thing. Like you have the main one, which is recreating the dinosaurs, and then you have like at the same time the scientist who did this, Dr. Tiptree, her name was. She not only recreated the dinosaurs, but she did this to wipe out humanity. And the way to do this, and folks, I'm not kidding when we explain this, because all three of us were looking at it like, what the fuck? Especially you, Daniel, because you understand a lot of science better than we do. The whole thing with this is that she literally created a virus that when people get infected, because the whole other subplot in this movie is this small town that takes place in Nevada, which I'm pretty sure was filmed in Nevada because a lot of it looks like my home state. And people get infected with this virus, and the women give birth to dinosaurs when they get infected with this virus. It makes them give birth to dinosaurs. And Dan, you said that was like bullshittery at its finest.
It's biologically wrong in every way and doesn't make sense in the slightest.
Like, how do you, like, seriously, how does a virus, it's something that makes you sick, make you give birth to a dinosaur? Like, that does not make any sense, like, at all. Like, that is
no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, look at us mammals. We lack the genetic components to produce eggs.
We'll look at a platypus. We'll look at a platypus. A platypus is a mammal, and yet it lays eggs.
Yeah, but the platypus is a genetic mishap.
Yeah,
we all know
exactly.
That.
But it's like when it comes to humans, it's like what in the? Oh my god! And the thing is, though, is that this movie is there's a lot of disgusting shit that happens in this movie. Like, the thing is, and I am gonna make this joke to everybody out in the world, every movie lover who has ever said, "Oh, they need to stop using so much CGI and start using practical effects." In this movie, there is no CG whatsoever. Like, there is not a shot of anything in this movie that was CGI. There's not a single scene in this entire movie. This movie's like an hour and 22 minutes, and yet there is no CG whatsoever. Everything was practical. So anyone who complains about too much CGI, go watch this. I dare you. I dare you to go watch this movie. And the giving birth scenes, I think, are like the most disgusting out of this movie, because they really drive home that point. Like, they really...
Oh, yeah, that is messed up.
Like, there's two scenes. Like, you had the one scene where a woman literally gives birth to a big-ass egg, somehow, and well, of course it killed her, but that egg was massive. Like, that egg was like, what, a sauropod-sized egg? Like, what the hell? Like, that egg was freaking huge. And then you had another woman who didn't even lay an egg. She gave live birth, which was even more disgusting. Like, she gave live birth and just had this raptor just literally shoot out of her. Like, the effects in this movie are... What do you guys think of, like, we'll talk about the dinosaurs here in a bit, but when it comes to, like, the blood, the gore, and the giving birth shit, like, what do you guys think about, like, the actual effects used in this? Like, when they're disgusting, like, they're actually... Would you guys say they're well done, or does it look cheap? The gore scenes, not the dinosaurs yet, but just the gore. The gore and the nasty shit.
I would say that they're done well enough to be considered decent, if you want to put it that way. But I wouldn't go as far to say, like, they're realistic or lifelike. The gory, death scenes whenever we see people getting killed by the Deinonychus or by the T-Rex. But I would say passable enough to be called decent. Like, you can tell with special effects.
Yeah, and speaking of Hey, sorry, Dan. Sorry, Zola. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No worries. No worries.
So what were you saying, dude? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I agree with you what Anton said. I mean, I've seen better, but I've seen worse effects. So
and
couldn't help that the version I watched was low resolution and very dark, so you couldn't see the actual details. But it worked in its favor.
Yeah, that's actually...
that's a good way to put it. It works in its favor. It's a good way to put it.
And speaking of the main stars of this movie, like, what do you think of, like, how the... What do you think of, like, the introduction to, like, the other main human character, like, of the guy Doc? Like, he had to be, like, the funniest character in this entire thing. Like, the lead actor in here, I can't remember the dude's name, but, I mean, what kind of person, I mean, for those who don't know, the character Doc, he's this drunken, oh my god, he's the definition of alcoholic. Like, he is drinking this entire thing. I'm pretty sure he probably was drunk while making this movie, I mean, because look what movie he's in. I'm pretty sure he was probably drinking.
You mean how Robert Shaw as Quentin George was actually drunk the whole time in life.
He was, yes. Yeah, that's probably a good comparison. But it's so weird, though. His introduction was so weird. Like, who wears sunglasses indoors? Like, who wears shades?
That's what I pointed out.
You pointed that out, dude. Yeah. Like, who wears shades indoors at night? Like, dude, that was at nighttime. Like, who does that? And then there's this thing with...
Why would anyone do that?
And then one of the like 3 or other subplots in this thing is there's this thing with hippies and trying to protest a construction site by chaining themselves to machinery, which does happen in real life, which is bullshit because
it's not
I don't know.
That wasn't too far off from what protesters who are, like vegans or climate change activists, they do that shit all the time, so it's not very far off at all.
Exactly, but
before we go deeper in this hole, guys, I just want to point out, we get back on track, so we don't go all political and bullshit, because that hole is very deep, and I don't have enough rope for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I love Doc's, like, when they first introduced the subplot of Doc versus the hippies. Doc versus the hippie. Wow, that actually sounds like a funny little B-people movie when you think about it.
It does.
Doc versus the hippies.
I've seen worse.
But it's so funny. I love how the guy comes out of the trailer with a rifle, and I just love his opening line. I got a gun and I can't shoot for shit! Who runs out of the trailer? Oh, and then he pops off a shot right after that. And Daniel, you pointed out he was plastered. Like, he was plastered as shit. Like, he was he was super... I'm pretty sure that guy probably was plastered in real life. I'm pretty sure that he had to have been...
He must have been.
He had to have been...
I've read up with, some behind-the-scenes details of movies, that sometimes there's been times on movie sets where an actor... he wants to pull out at the last minute. He doesn't want to do that role anymore.
Yeah.
So at times they will drink themselves as much as they can just to
get through the
just
movie,
to fuck about like that. Yeah.
Just to get through it, and it's just so hilarious. Oh, and then you have like, Diane Ladd's character, Dr. Tiptree. She doesn't really do much in the movie. Like, they try to build her up to be, like, the main antagonist in here, but she doesn't do much. Like, she's underutilized as hell. Like, she's so underutilized.
She's just like, every,
mad
cliche, stereotypical, wants to take over the world sort of scientist villain sort of thing, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's me that had hard focusing on this character, but I felt she was just very hollow. I mean, like,
she kind of was. Like, they try to make her act more like Dr. Wu from Jurassic Park, like a female Doctor Wu kind of. Except like
Yeah,
a dick version of that.
Yeah, you got a point.
But and I just love like how there's a line.
I actually never thought of it. I actually never thought of it that way until you brought it up. So
yeah,
you got a point.
It's so funny. There's kind of a knock to Jurassic Park in this. There's like one scene where she was talking about bringing the dinosaurs back, and Doc is sitting with her, going like, "That's a great idea, you know, make a good theme park." Like, they knew what they were doing with that line. Like, they so knew what they were pointing. They knew what they were pointing at. Whose finger they were pointing to.
That is so. Can I just bring up something that's completely well? I don't know if it is irrelevant to this, but in my eyes, it's irrelevant to me. But I just want to bring this up because it reminds me of something that I watched in an episode of Doctor Who. I am a fucking huge Doctor Who fan, and
movies reunite.
Yeah, boy, yes.
Well, there you
and
go.
I was watching this one episode that was broadcast during the '60s with something. Oh, what's his name again? He's a really famous British actor. I know his name, but I keep forgetting it. But he's one of the best doctors, in my opinion. And and there's this episode, I think it was in the 60s or maybe 70s, that like these people were bringing dinosaurs back to life. And some of the casting in that episode, they were like, especially with the villains bringing back the dinosaurs to life, they were just as hollow as Dr. Tiptree in Carnosaur. I just wanted to bring that up, even though it's irrelevant. Like, I want to bring that up because there are some similarities between that Doctor Who episode from the 60s and this movie. It just reminds me of that, and the special effects are on par with each other regarding that.
Oh, and what's just so crazy is what you guys ever think of the hippie character? I can't believe I'm saying this name, Thrush. What the hell kind of name is that? Like, as soon as she said the name, I'm like, excuse me? What the hell?
I say she was very basic as characters go.
Yeah,
actually, you know what sucks, guys? You know she never appeared in a movie after this. Like, this was her one movie that woman ever played in. This was she never appeared in a movie again after this. So this movie apparently a lot of moviegoers that I've seen on YouTube, they call it her career killer. Like, this movie was her a career killer for her.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah,
That's
well, she never appeared in a movie. She never appeared in another movie after this.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
That is.
But the thing is, though, this movie was produced
I don't
by
even know what to
this
say
movie.
about that.
It's a Roger Corman movie, so when you see the name Roger Corman, you already know what movie you're watching. You already know you're going into a B movie. Like, you already know what you're in for if you hear the name Roger Corman. But you know the thing is, you know how with a lot of B movies, they always try to either be silly, stupid fun. This movie, for a B movie, it takes itself serious. This movie takes itself very serious.
It does.
Yeah,
it does take itself very seriously.
Honestly, it was kind of, as a guy who watches B movies on a regular basis, no judging, it was actually kind of refreshing to see one that tries to take itself seriously without going overboard on it.
Yeah, that's actually the one.
True.
That's actually what
that's true.
I feel. Yeah, I agree with that because there's like a lot of B movies that they always have like this fun, adventurous tone to them. But this movie just is serious in tone, like all the way through. This movie is all serious. And now, finally, we talk about the reason why you people are watching this fucking video in the first place. The dinosaurs. Now, the dinosaurs in this movie were all done with puppets. They originally were going to have a guy in a suit, but thank God they didn't do the guy in the suit, because that would have looked... Oh, God. I don't even want to think about that. Now, first off, the dinosaur they start out with is Deinonychus, and they use, like, How many puppets do you think they used? Because it looks like 3. It looked like they had like 2 or 3.
I would say 4.
4?
I would say 3.
I
would
felt
say
like 3. Because they had like a full size one. They looked like they had like a Utah Raptor sized one, and then like another puppet when it was walking, which you can tell somebody off camera was holding the thing because they only filmed it from like the shoulders up. They only filmed this thing from like the shoulders up, and then they had a smaller one. You could tell they had like they had like a smaller puppet, and the kills in this movie. You can't talk about the dinosaurs without talking about the kills, because the kills in this thing were, even Daniel, you were looking at it going like, your face on a couple of them was like, holy shit.
Yeah, some of them were very,
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
like with some of the kills in this film, they were a little over the top and extreme. Like especially with the scene where Deinonychus attacks a protester and pretty much bites off his face.
He does. He bites his face off, and it's, oh god, like just straight up, just like, oh my god.
I wanted to make a joke when we were watching it, but I forgot to do it until a few minutes after.
What?
Face off.
Oh.
Oh my god. And actually, my main, and I did this with a long time ago. I did this with when I was talking about the effects in the Godzilla films like 3 years ago. I have like effects cons. I always pointed out effects in the Godzilla movies that I thought were a little off. This movie, the effects cons, I mean, I can appreciate, like I said, I've said this a lot, I appreciate the use of practical effects, but the dinosaurs in this movie, we kept making jokes about it, how the thing's head would swing so far one direction that an animal can't do that. Like, you can, like, you see the thing walking, and then it would swing its head one way or another, and it looks so weird when it does it. Like, there's no way an animal can just, like, it can't just turn its head normal and look at something. It swings its head like a freaking toy. Like, it just swings its head one way.
It's
like,
not, it doesn't just swing its head, it flops its head.
It does.
Flops.
It flops its head
like
around.
You know what I've got? I've got to bring up the most random thing when it comes to that. When we see the T-Rex just flopping its head to the side.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one of those really old music videos that pop stars made back in the day. You know, where they go up to the camera and they go, I whip my hair back and forth.
That's kind of what it looked like. That I remember seeing those on YouTube in like 2003. But yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I could just see. Oh, great! Now that we brought that up, I'd love to see a YouTuber take a '90s pop song and put footage of Carnosaur in the video. I would love
T-Rex swinging his head, and just you hear in the background, "I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my head."
But what do you call? And the weird thing about this is, like, the puppet that they used for the Deinonychus, like, one of the puppets is the full-size one, and design-wise, it didn't look that bad. Like, design-wise, the animal did not look bad at all. Like, it actually looked...
Yeah, I've seen much worse.
I mean, at the time, like, when they used to think that's how Deinonychus looked back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks all right, but I wouldn't go as far to say, it's the best design for Deinonychus ever.
It's not. But my only thing with the puppet is that it moves a little too stiffly. Like, the way it moves, it's not fluid.
Yeah.
It moves, and I said this when I did Godzilla effects years ago, it moves too much like a puppet. It moves too much. Like, when it's up close, it moves like an animal. Like, up close it moves like an animal, but far away, when they do the close-up shots look good, but the far away shots, all the wide shots, it, like, you can tell it moves a little too much like a puppet. Like, it stops and moves, stops and moves, stops and moves. like a puppet does. And that's like my main effects con with this movie is the dinosaurs move too much like a puppet. Like the Deinonychus, it moves way too much like a puppet. And and I was pointing this out to you, James. A lot of people know this already because it's been pointed out like no tomorrow. The hippie attack scene. It's a quick shot, but you know how they show the dinosaurs like the point of view with the night vision scenes? Actually, there's a quick shot, but when the girl was getting her leg pulled on, you can see a crew member's hand pulling her leg. It's like
even when you pointed out to me like when we were watching that, I still couldn't see it.
It's a quick shot. It's a really quick shot. Like you'd miss it if you weren't looking for it. If you weren't looking,
I did.
Sort of like
Wait, did you notice it, Daniel? Wait, did you see it? Did you see that it was a crew member's hand pulling her leg? And it's really quick if you weren't looking for it, but it's been pointed out, like so many people who've reviewed this movie on YouTube have slowed the shot down and pointed it out, and yeah, you can tell it's a dude's hand pulling her leg. And then also, James, you said Doc is like. You ever notice? I think we were making jokes about this. Every time he gets pissed off, he slaps shit. He slaps.
Yeah, he came to a stop where next to this truck, and there's a dead guy inside. And for some reason, he gets all pissed off about it and just slaps the fucking dead guy.
He does, yeah. And then at the end, he was.
I was saying. Oh man, he's dead. No need to be disrespectful.
Exactly right. And then also there's towards the end of the movie when he was talking on the radio and he slapped the wall after whoever he was talking to frickin' got disconnected. He slapped the wall. But you know what's actually crazy? And the weird thing is when it comes to this movie, you guys notice like the way the T-Rex, the way it walked was very retro. Like it walked upright like Godzilla does. It doesn't walk horizontally. It was walking vertically. Like the Rex was walking.
Yeah,
the Rex was walking vertically, and yet its tail did not drag on the ground like you think. It actually had its tail up in the air. Its tail was up off the ground, but it was walking. It was walking up.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, it just gets weirder and weirder just thinking about it. It's like, that was a fucking weird T-Rex, you know, the stunts, its posture was all wrong, you know, and during the 90s, you know, it was when they discovered T-Rex was an animal that was horizontal and not vertical.
Yeah,
you know, you see like with Rexy in Jurassic Park, she's horizontal.
Yeah, she walks the right way. This Rex in C over here just.
It's like a 70s version Rex almost.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys and Daniel, you said the roar for these things, like the deep screamy roar. You said it was low bar. Like you said, you weren't really a fan of the roars in here.
There was nothing standing out. It was just like. Sounded almost like one of those stock footage roars that everyone has access to.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
But the thing is, though, is that when it comes to the T-Rex, honestly, I'm like the only one that actually liked this. I actually did like the screaming roar that the Rex used in this movie because it felt different from like every other dinosaur movie because every other time you see a T-Rex. Every time it roars, it always has this deep and loud roar, and this movie kind of like separates itself from it by making it more higher in pitch. Like it makes it a little more high pitched, and I just think it kind of deviates itself away from other dino films at the time instead of the deep.
You know what? You know what? Now that you mention it, do you remember that film we watched a little while ago called Unknown Island?
Yeah.
Do you remember the ceratosaurs and how they had a really high-pitched squealing?
They did. They honestly, they did. It's very few times.
You're never going to believe this. You're never going to believe it. I just found out that from several sources that seem to be reliable and trustworthy enough, those weren't actually ceratosaurs.
What?
They're
The
T-Rexes.
That
They're
was
T-Rexes.
a Rex, really? They're saying those are Tyrannos?
Yeah.
That's bullshit if I ever heard it.
I just felt time stop, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Dude, they're dinosaurs.
I'm like you right now. I'm like you right now.
For any folks, do not watch Unknown Island. It is.
Yes.
Don't watch it.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit. Put it this way: the dinosaurs in this movie look better than in Carnosaur. The dinosaurs in this movie look way better.
Yeah, by a long shot.
By a
freaking
long shot, they looked a lot better. And speaking of the Rex in Carnosaur here, like, honestly, they had like two different puppets that they used in this movie for it. They had a full size one, and then a smaller one that they used for like wide angle. That they used for wide angle shots. The full size puppet looks way better when you see it on screen. The full size Rex,
it really does.
The full size Rex, I think it's like the Rex is honestly like the best effect in this movie. To be perfectly honest, like it's the one that they put more time into. Oh, and then one of the death scenes that we got to talk. We didn't really talk about the kills in this movie actually. Like James, you mentioned the Jeep kill. Like, you mentioned the raptor killing people in the Jeep. And the guy gets castrated. The poor guy gets freaking, while taking a piss. How do you, like, you just imagine, like, you're out...
That is so cliche when it comes to slasher films. There's been too many times where I've seen too many slasher films, some guy's just taking a piss, and he gets knifed in the dick or something. Like...
Dumb ways to
die.
So many dumb ways to die. We're supposed to do that together.
Actually, no. The dumb ways to die part was the last human kill in the movie, involving the sheriff.
Oh yeah.
And
we'll save that for when we get to it.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that like the first major. Well, you have like the hippies getting killed, which is just like. That was gruesome enough. And then, and James, you kind of pointed this out. Speaking of the hippie kills, when the chick gets her leg ripped off, there was one weird thing about that where there was blood on her face when she gets her leg ripped off, and then the camera goes to her ripped off leg, and then goes back to her face, and the blood on her face just vanishes for some reason. Like there was no blood on her face. But James, you pointed this out. The raptor the Deinonychus was really taking its time eating that leg. Like it was just sitting there gnawing on it. Like it just had the.
It was like chewing on a. It was like, you know how you see some people with a cigar and they just chew on it rather than smoke it. You know, like it's taking its time.
That's kind of what it looked like. And then you have the hippie. Then you have. The Jeep kill, which I think is the most gory out of this movie. Like the Jeep
that
kill
one
is
was
the most
violent. That was
like,
super violent.
Like you just have a dude go and take a piss, and then you can tell he got bitten in the dick. Like you can so tell he got bitten in the crotch, and then all of a sudden the Deinonychus just jumps in through the top of the Jeep, which was made of fabric, and the other two people, they get shredded. Like they do not hide the fact that these two got opened up and bitten apart, ripped open, all kinds of. Oh my god! Well, and just and what you guys?
It was.
And then what do you guys think of the? What do you guys think of the shot? Like, I know this is kind of weird to mention this, but what do you guys think of that shot right after that kill, where it was the silhouette of the Deinonychus against the sunset? Like, what do you guys think of that? Like, I know it's kind of weird to point this out, but I think it's like a wallpaper to me for some reason. Like, it kind of looks like it could be.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. In my opinion, right? Like, well, now it's your opinion too, so it's both our opinion. So, I was gonna say, like, that shot, I think looks like would be a great sort of wallpaper. If this movie had become as popular and as successful as, say, the Jurassic Park trilogy or some of the Godzilla films and the Toho Kaiju library, like, if it became as well known and as popular as them, I would say that a lot of people would be using that as a sort of wallpaper, you know, sort of as like a background sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it looks like it should be that.
And funny thing is, and James, I was mentioning this to you, the one thing about this movie, it literally, you would think, you'd think anyway, that this movie would be one of those straight-to-video, like, B horror movies, right? No, this movie actually came out in theaters at the time. This movie actually came out in theaters, and it had a budget of $500,000, and it made $1.8 million at the box office.
Actually, you're just a little wrong about that. So the budget for this film was $850,000, but the grossing of it. But you were right about the grossing of it, though. It came to an amount of 1.8 million. So,
which I'm actually shocked that this movie even made that much. Like, it made back its budget plus more. Like, I'm actually shocked that this movie even had that much tiny little bit of success.
And of course, like, because of its success, sequels had to come of it one way or another.
Oh, why the hell wouldn't they? Roger Corman, actually, the thing about him is, he doesn't give a shit. He'll make a sequel to a movie no matter if it's successful or not. He don't give a damn.
Nah, he don't give a fuck, man. He just does it. He just goes out and does it.
Roger Corman is a one-man asylum. He's a one-man asylum. He'll just make a movie just because. Like, he'll just do a movie. Oh, and here's a fun fact for you guys. Speaking of Roger Corman, no, I'll save that for when we do that review. But, anyways, what do you call, I couldn't stop laughing about this. Oh, and what's the whole thing? I know one standout scene that was the, I made the decapitation joke here when, one of the random characters walks in this poultry house and the Deinonychus drops from the roof and eats the dude and eats his head. And yes, I shouted this out when I did it. Decapitation! But it's so funny. The actor who played that dude his name is Clint Howard. Who the other movie that he would do a movie 2 years later is a live action version of the anime Fist of the North Star, and Clint Howard plays a road bandit in that movie, and he's got a really stupid line before he shoots somebody, and I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to have all y'all watch it for yourselves. You'll know what line I'm talking about after you hear it, but it's so weird seeing him as some random dude in this movie who just gets his head bitten off. And then you just got the two guys, the two other characters that get killed. They're just driving, looking for the raptor. Like, they work for Dr. Tiptree, and all of a sudden, like, the Deinonychus just smashes the windshield and just grabs one of them, starts eating him, and then just bites the other dude's arm. Like, this raptor just kills for the sake of killing in this movie.
It does.
It literally just eats people for the sake of eating people. Like, it didn't... Like, the thing about this movie, it made these animals, like, really aggressive. Like, I highly doubt T-Rex was that threatening. Like, I know T-Rex is a predator, but I highly doubt a Rex would be
I highly doubt any dinosaur would have been anything like that.
Like, seriously, I know it's a carnivore,
yeah, I don't think so.
I
They're
mean...
not monsters. They're animals.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Hollywood has been taking for granted for years, showcasing dinosaurs as just these bloodthirsty, monstrous beasts out for fighting and eating everything that moves.
Especially
when the reality is,
they're just animals. They're literally just animals.
Yeah, like they would have been just like any other animal that we see today when we go out to like a nature reserve, for example, or anywhere else for that matter.
Yeah, and what'd you guys ever think of the one standout? I wouldn't really call it a standout scene, but it's one of the scenes that's gross. Is the infamous egg scene where the sheriff was trying to crack some eggs and this black shit was coming out of it, but then he cracks one of the eggs and there's a T-Rex embryo in it that would really die in real life because all it was just a head at first, and then it developed a body. right after coming out of the egg, which in real life that thing would have died. That thing would have died as soon as that egg was cracked open because it was literally just a head. That thing was literally just a floating head. Not really a floating, but it was a head moving around, kind of like a weird psychedelic horror movie. But then the thing developed a body. Then it developed a body, which I will admit was cute. I'm not gonna lie. The baby...
It was pretty cute.
The baby dinosaurs in this movie were actually kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they were actually they were actually adorable. But what's so weird is this movie not only it clearly cashed in on JP, but it also cashed in on Alien. Because there's a scene where Dr. Tiptree gave birth to a raptor by ripping... She gets infected with her own virus, and then a raptor comes out of her stomach.
The way she died, man.
Oh, it's the way she...
That was weird.
The way she died was fucking hilarious.
Like, the look on her face... I just said the look on her face was like, oh, shit. And then she looks like she just passes out. She doesn't, like, die.
It was more like she had been through this before. Like, she knew exactly how it was going to go down. And her expression just said it all. It was like, oh, not again.
Didn't it look like she just fell asleep? Like, didn't it look like she just passed out and didn't, like, die? Like, it just looked like she doesn't really die, she just, like, falls asleep. And
none of the actors really gave it their all here, let's be honest.
That is true. There's, like, especially Thrush, like, she really doesn't... I don't know what... I honestly don't know. Like, I think the characters, they could have been... If given a little more time, I think they could have fleshed these characters out just a little more.
They could have written them more better,
Because Doc is like this, this whole movie, he's just like this, just this alcoholic who just is such a dick most of the movie. He's such a prick most of this movie, and it's like it's like they try to develop a relationship between him and Thrush, but it doesn't really, it just comes in.
There was nothing there at all.
Exactly.
Pointless.
It just comes on later in the movie, way later in the movie. And then you just have, like, Dr. Tiptree was, like, the typical cliche mad scientist who didn't really do much in this movie. Like, we could have seen her fight a little bit or go, like if you're gonna be a cliche villain, go for it. Like, do a mad scientist speech or some shit like that. Well, she kind of does, but, you know...
She did. She kind of did. But it just came off as kind of... It just came off... Oh, sorry, go on.
Nah, you go.
No, you go. No.
I just said, I thought their entire shtick was weak. Like, well, is this it? You got nothing else?
Yeah, exactly. Like, she...
Yeah,
like
I agree.
They could have, like, easily, if you were to develop the characters a little bit more, this movie could have easily been, like, 2 hours. Like, if you were to develop the characters just a little bit more, this movie could have easily been, like, 2 hours long. But, then, after all this bullshit that happens, and then there's, like, scenes with the virus where you have, like, there's a couple of military personnel and people in hazmat suits that shoot people. They literally go around and they just start shooting the people in this small town who are infected. Like, what the hell? Like, you just have this whole quarantine situation. Like, I just think, like, this movie should have been longer to pretty much, like, touch on aspects. Like, to touch on shit to give a little more exposition here. Because at the end, it just
like,
feels random.
it feels like one of those, I can't remember exactly which one, but it was one of the Dawn of the Dead movies where they ended with firing a nuke at him.
Oh my god, yeah, I know which, I know which one you're talking about, yeah. Well, just like, it was a little, yep. But, honestly, I felt sorry for the people that get shot in this movie. Like, isn't it kind of sad? Like, you just see these guys in hazmat suits with M16s, they go into a hospital and just shoot everybody. Did you ever notice that? Like, everyone just...
No, there's no survivors in this movie at all.
Oh, yeah, everyone dies. Everyone dies in this movie. But, well, we'll save that when we get to the end of the movie. But, you know, of course, like every other dinosaur movie, you know, the big predator in the movie escapes, literally going Pachycephalosaurus on a wall and busting its way out. Like, it literally uses its head and bangs its way out of the place. But the one shot of the T-Rex that it drives me nuts, and we were all looking at it like, oh my god. We was walking up to a phone booth, and then out of nowhere, the phone booth started ringing. Out of nowhere, like, why was the phone ringing? And it's just...
I was going to make a joke and say, oh, pick it up, Mr. Rex, it's for you. Pick up the phone!
Oh, you know what? That actually would have been funny if the Rex actually swung its head and knocked over the phone booth. Like, that would have been...
Yeah,
I don't know why, that kind of would have been funny if it did that. But,
they should have done that. That would have made for a good laugh.
But it's just the fact that the smaller...
I'll be back in a second. You guys continue.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. Our Zola is gonna be getting a drink here. So yeah. So what do you call while the other guy he goes off into the void here. So one thing, James, and you pointed out that the Rex's tail was really skinny. Like, it was kind of weird. The thing had a really skinny tail. Like, it had a really skinny tail, which is just off.
I thought we talked about this already, didn't we?
Just not. No, we didn't.
I'm pretty sure we did. Oh no, we talked about its posture.
Yeah,
we talked about how it was more
posture.
like.
But yeah, the Rex's skinny
we talked
tail
about how it was stanced. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
It was so weird how its tail, like, it looked like a stick. It looked like a rat tail almost. It kind of looked like the
it did, yeah. It had a skinny. Like a rodent tail.
Skinny rodent tail kind of thing. But it was the phone booth shot that's like, when it comes to the T-Rex, the phone booth shot is like my main effects con with it, because you can tell, like, the way it's walking, like, they're trying to make it walk, but they're filming it from, like, the waist up, so you don't see how they're trying to move the legs, and so they're not trying to move the legs.
Yeah.
And then when it walks away, its head gets up, and it's like, it's so... It just looks goofy the way its head is moving, and the mouth was open the whole time. Like, you didn't have a mechanism to close the mouth while it was walking. Its mouth was hanging open the entire
the poor thing's jaw must have been aching the whole time. And I mean, if I were there, I'm like, you can shut your mouth, right?
Exactly.
You can close your doors.
And then we cut to like the final, and there's one plot that I think should have there's one other subplot that they did with the dinosaurs in this movie, but
there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's so many subplots in this film. It's so messy. You don't know where the storyline. You don't know which storyline is where.
Yeah, there's one subplot in this movie that I think they should have developed the absolute most. Is there's a line where Thrush was saying that the construction site was like... They said it was... She was explaining how it was in a spot where there was like a lot where dinosaurs used to live or some shit like that, and then Doc points out that the Rex apparently remembered that and was heading for that area.
Yeah, they should really have focused on
they
that.
Really
that
should
have,
like, that's the one thing that should have been completely fleshed out in this movie. And then you cut to Doc fighting it with a bobcat, fighting this thing with a bobcat, and it's so crazy. I mean, I even pointed this out. Like, I do gotta give credit to, like, because there's always a final battle with monsters at the end of movies, and most of the time they just shoot at it. Most of the time they shoot at it or throw dynamite at it. But no, this movie, I honestly give this movie credit for this. They fight the T-Rex with a bobcat. I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool that they use something else other than blowing it up. Like, they killed the main monster that didn't involve blowing it up. Like, they killed it regularly, I guess.
Yeah, they're trying to out-muscle it. Would it be cool if they brought in this, what the fuck is it called? Like the Hacksmith power loader thingy.
Oh, a power loader.
Arm to arm with.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh my god. A power loader. Oh, like in Aliens, talking about that thing?
No, not that one. Don't you guys know the YouTuber Hacksmith actually built a working power loader?
Oh, he did. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing that. That would have been funny if that existed that was around in the 90s.
Yeah, yes. I have a surprise. Let's bring it.
You know what's actually crazy, James? You're a wildlife enthusiast. What do you think of the line before Doc gets done ripping the Rex's guts out, which is pretty gross actually. The Rex gets its guts ripped out. Well, what do you think of the line where before Doc kills it, before he goes, "I hate wildlife"? What do you guys think? The cheesy one-liner before the kill. You know, the cheesy.
It's just a cheesy one-liner.
That's
yeah.
It's a cheesy one-liner.
It good.
It's a cheesy one-liner. If anyone says differently about it, that's their issue. But it doesn't bother me in the slightest, because it's a cheesy B movie, and
everything about it has to.
And it's having fun with it. You can tell with some moments, even though it takes itself seriously, it's having fun with itself, with others, and that's what a B movie is all about. Having fun with itself, knowing what it is. Even though with this one, it does take itself seriously, but you know what my point is.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just so crazy how, it's so weird. Usually, it's just the way the Rex dies. Like I was saying a little bit ago, every other monster either gets shot up or blown up. No, this thing dies by getting ripped open. This movie's just focusing on gore. It's gore, people die, the dinosaurs die. And then there's one kill. There's one kill the last actual human kill, dinosaur on person, is the sheriff. The sheriff the sheriff dies by, he shoots the raptor in the chest with a shotgun, which you think, oh, that should have killed the damn thing. But no, the sheriff walks up to the thing, literally gets right on top of the little bastard, and then it's still moving. This raptor gets shot at 5 times. It gets shot at, you see it fall over, but then it gets right back up. Then it gets right back up and runs. This thing, you guys notice this in the movie? Every time it got shot at, it ran away. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Dude, is this thing a pussy? What is up with this raptor? It has no problem running up and killing people, but it gets shot one time. It's a movie monster. Movie monsters aren't supposed to run when getting fired at, but this thing gets shot once, twice. It's only one bullet, and it runs like a bitch, pretty much.
Realistically, one bullet should have been enough to do the job. So having it survive multiple gunshot wounds is ridiculous. So
for a dinosaur, with other movie monsters, I can see why, but for a dinosaur, it is a little ridiculous. But anyways, right before the guy's about to kill it with the shotgun, it literally shoves its foot up his ass. It shoves its entire foot, toe claw included, it shoves its entire foot up his ass and comes out of his stomach. Yeah, and then this is the kill we saved it for. As soon as the guy's dropping, you can just you can freeze frame it right before he drops and just go dumb ways to die.
So many dumb ways to die.
That's what that kill looked like. Isn't that what that kill looked like? You can easily get that song.
This is fun. This is so much fun.
We saved those. Trust me, folks. We before watching this movie, we made sure we were going to throw in all these jokes while we were watching this, because it's that funny. But
it is.
We are big nerds.
But anyways, when it comes to Carnosaur, would you guys honestly, to people to dinosaur nerds like us, would you recommend this movie to people who like watching dinosaur films?
Not early in their career of watching them. No, this is an advanced level shit. Like, let's say you have at least watched all of the Jurassic franchise and been to a few museums. It's seen real bones, and you have seen at least 2 documentaries. That's when you can watch this movie.
I would say if you're that desperate for anything to do with dinosaurs, in regards to dinosaurs, then I would say I wouldn't really recommend Carnosaur or its sequels, but if you're that desperate for anything to do with dinosaurs, I would say give it a watch.
Honestly,
and who knows, you might have a fun time with it. You might like it, you might dislike it. It's entirely up to you and your preference.
Yeah, because this movie, it's not for everybody. Like, there's some people who absolutely hate this movie because it's a Roger Corman movie. There's some people that absolutely hate it. And then there's some people that actually enjoy it for what it is, and that actually enjoy Roger Corman's way of filmmaking. And, well, me being one of them, I mean, I am an Asylum fan after all, so when it comes to B movies, I get hooked. What? What'd you say? What'd you say, Viking? Huh? What'd you say, Northman? Huh? Okay, what did you say? What did you just... Hey, Northman, what'd you just say? No, seriously,
What
James.
would you like to know?
Oh God! Now I'm gonna.
He's gonna deal with you later.
Good God! Oh man, I'll make you watch Sharknado sober. How about that?
Alright, then I'll make you watch Hellraiser during the night.
Oh fuck that. Okay, I see your point. Yeah, but when it comes to recommending this, I would recommend this movie if you just want to watch a dinosaur movie. Like, if you're bored if you either get home from work or you're bored on a weekend when everyone around you's busy and it's just you by yourself and you just want to watch a dinosaur movie, just watch this. Just if you want to do like a dinosaur movie day, I would recommend this, to be perfectly honest with you, because if you just like dinosaurs, go ahead. Like that, honestly,
yeah,
I would definitely...
don't overthink it. It's a turn off your brain movie.
It very much. It's a definitely turn off your brain movie.
I got an idea. I've got an idea for our audience. So if any of our audience watching this, if you guys and your friends are drinkers, I think Carnosaur would be a great movie to watch if you guys got drunk together.
Oh my God! You know what? A lot of people say,
a drinking game. Every kill, you take a shot.
Oh my God. Well, there's not really many kills in this movie, so really nobody would...
Quite a few. There's quite a few. There's a few
shots
to go around.
And also, the last thing, before I say anything, the last thing about this movie is what you guys... And James, you were pointing out how kind of ridiculous this was. What was with, like, with Doc, like, if you notice every other infected person in this movie, like, you have the people in the hazmat suits that were going around just shooting the infected people. You guys ever notice that everybody else only got shot like twice, like once or twice, but Doc gets like a whole magazine pumped in.
Oh yeah, they overkilled him. Him.
And then he gets torched.
And usually I don't mind overkill, but that took it a little too far.
That was like
in the word of a meme. Don't cancel me for this, but Willy kill that.
And then Danny, you said that the whole thing was like it was the scorched earth plan. It was that because not only do they pump an entire magazine into him, they torch his ass. Like him and Thrush both die. Like they just get torched. Doc gets shot up to hell. He even gets shot even after he dies. Like after he's slumped over, they shoot him again. In the back! Like, they shoot him after he's already...
They really went overkill with that.
They did.
Well, because every civilian in that village was considered a biological hazard, which means fire.
Yeah.
It's the only way to deal with those things. Fire.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just so weird how the doctor only got shot twice. But no, one of the main characters gets a literal whole magazine pumped into him. But and it's so weird. Did you guys notice there was a random guy in a hazmat suit taking photos every time they go and shoot people? There was this random dude taking photos of taking photos all the time.
No, I imagine he was there and he was doing that for a whole load of different reasons and purposes.
But it just feels random.
He's doing it to keep records of every kill, so they can compare it to the town records, see who lived there, so make sure that they got them all.
Yeah, but it just kind of feels random. Like, it just feels so random the way the movie plays out. It's just like random photo. Like, it just feels so random the way this dude just walks up and just starts taking photos of dead people. Like, every time they shoot somebody, it's like we all agreed. Like, this whole movie should have been longer and touched on everything, so it just doesn't feel random as shit. But, and honestly, we set our scores after the end, while the end credits were rolling. What do you guys give it? Because I give it a 5. I give this movie a 5 out of 10. Like, I give this movie a
3.
straight up.
Well,
I give it a 3.
I'm with Daniel here. I'm gonna give it a 3.
A 3 out of 10. Like, yeah, for me,
maybe
James, you
maybe
tell.
If I'm maybe out of generosity, maybe 3.5 at the highest, but no higher than that.
Now, James, what did you say about you poked at me when I said this when it comes to B movies? When it came to, you got to tell the audience this, because I have stated so many times I love B movies. I am a huge B movie nut.
Yeah, so guys,
like, no matter, I can't help it.
No matter, like, even with movies that are exceptionally bad in terms of everything that they do, when it comes to, you know, dinosaur movies, kaiju movies, something else other to do with giant monsters and paleontology. Like, if it's a B movie or if it's a movie that doesn't exceed expectations and is said to be one of the worst movies of all time, Tim will defend it slightly by giving it a slightly higher score than I do or anyone else does. And he does back them up. Like, with sometimes I agree, but other times I'm like, nah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh no, I never think like that. I'm just like, nah, I don't agree with you.
He just went full on.
And I give this to the audience. A little vote. Do you guys want us to make Tim watch the absolute worst movie ever made? Yes or no?
Dude, there is
and
one.
I know exactly which movie.
If you're talking about The Room, if you're talking about Tommy Wiseau's The Room, oh, okay. Okay. As long as it's not
going worse.
We're
going worse.
As long as it's not, you are tearing me apart, Lisa.
I do that to a lot of followers on Instagram.
That one is borderline bad, so it's good. This movie I'm talking about is so bad, it's literally considered garbage by garbage.
Oh, it's that fucking bad? It's that much of a piece of shit?
Yes.
Oh, good.
It's not that really shitty film that came out years ago. Bird or something.
Oh, no. No.
Yes.
Oh my god. That movie? Seriously? You really want to make me watch that? Like, actually sit through it? Really?
Go on, guys. The audience now. It's up to them. It's up to the audience if we should watch that piece of shit.
10 votes. I will give it. Okay, anybody comments 10 times. There has to be 10 comments that say watch Birdemic.
Birdemic. Even the title of the fucking film, Jesus Christ!
Oh no, let's make it worse. Let's make it worse because there's two. There's a second Birdemic movie, so let's make it worse and.
Are you kidding me?
There's a sequel. I'm not kidding. Look it up. There's literally a Birdemic 2. There's an actual sequel to that movie.
No, there's
I will
it's a trilogy.
add another voting
It,
system.
no, it's
Add
not, there's no sequel. It's a trilogy.
There's a 3?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. I will add audience. If you're listening, here's another one. If we get 20 yes votes on this, me and Mr. Jurassic over here will watch this movie hammered.
Oh,
And Tim has to
yes,
suffer.
yes, do it, do it.
20
folks,
votes, guys. 20 up votes.
See, folks, the thing with me is, like, a lot of B movies that people say, oh, this movie would be better if you get some buddies and some booze. I watch these movies completely sober. That's how much of a fan I am of B movies. I watch these movies sober. I watch B movies completely sober when I do this. Hell, I binged the entire Sharknado franchise sober. I sat through all 6 of those movies sober. Like, no joke. I literally sat through all 6 Sharknado movies in one Saturday completely sober. Like, that's how much of a B movie fan I am. I will watch these by myself completely sober. Like, sober as shit. That's how much of a B movie fan I am.
We need a timeline for this voting. We need a timeline for this voting. We have 10 votes for the movie by 1st of July, and 20 votes for drunk watching with me and Jurassic by the 2nd of July.
Oh my god.
Everyone in favor of that?
Well, anyways, guys, I think we've said everything we wanted to say about this movie, huh?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed this crazy review here. So please be sure to like, share, and consider subscribing. Oh, and also, there's been a change. Like, please follow all 3 of us on Instagram. But I had to make a new Instagram because of Instagram's bullshit. Because Instagram pulled some bullshit on me, so I had to make a new one. So the link to my new Instagram, Megalania 2023, that will be in the description below. And follow Jurassic World Monsterverse 2. The link to his Instagram will be in the description below. And then Zola over here, his YouTube channel will be in the description below, as well as his Instagram, Dudemeister. Yes, yes, your name is that funny, I can't help but say it. Dudemeister. It just sounds funny. Dudemeister. Like, why does that sound like the nickname in a metal band? Like, seriously, it sounds like the nickname. It does. Like, the lead singer for a metal band, Dudemeister. It honestly does. But all of that will be in the description below, so please come follow all 3 of us here. We appreciate that. It's great the fact that Paleo files reviews. We haven't uploaded a video in a long fucking time. So, thank God we managed to find, because life kept getting life.
There's this thing called life. It always gets in the way of shit.
It does. So, thank God we managed to start a new marathon. In the way of Nigel Marvin, marathon. Yes, that's how he says it. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching this, and come follow all 3 of us on our Instagrams and Dudemeister's YouTube channel and all of our other shit. So yeah, so this is Tim W. Rago and
Jurassic World Monsterverse.
Exolia. Peace out, nerds.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace out, everybody. See you all in the next episode of Jurassic June.